The most beautiful country on earth, 3 most livable cities in Canada, over 14,000 graduates, and 20 unique programs in English. Welcome to Canada. Welcome to Sprott Language College. This is Ilyas. As the Pathway Program Manager and the Marketing Manager for Europe, I will share with you today how you can live, study, and work in Canada. Canada stands out with its safe, multicultural society, quality of education, and high living standards. These things make Canada one of the most reputable countries in the world. It is also more affordable to study in Canada than other countries like the US and UK. Here, you can meet and study with students from over 75 different countries and also study and work through our career college. Or you can enroll in our Pathway program to study at Canada's top colleges and universities while working 20 hours per week to obtain work experience in an English-speaking country. If you want to be a part of this great experience at Sprott Language College, apply today. Now it's time for Canada.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to SSLC's Pathway webinar series. My name is Ilyas, and I'm the Pathway Program Manager, joining you once again live from our Vancouver campus. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Today we are hosting Mount St. Vincent University all the way from East Coast, from Halifax. And Jessica is joining us today representing the university. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Ilyas. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining our webinar today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love the West Coast. My family is from there. My brother-in-law lives there, so it's always a pleasure to even virtually visit the West Coast.
And we are so happy to connect with our partners from all around Canada. We go from East Coast to West Coast, even to the prairies. So it's great to have you on our webinar today.
My pleasure.
All right, so today we're going to talk about MSVU's programs, admission procedures, processes, requirements, as well as how you can, of course, easily transition from SSLC's Pathway program, which is EPE, English for Post-Secondary Education, to MSVU's undergraduate and graduate programs. So Jessica will tell us more about MSVU, but before we go on to her presentation, maybe we can get to know her first for our audience.
Sure. So my name is Jessica Brown, and I have the ultimate pleasure to be Mount St. Vincent University. And as that's a mouthful, we often do just say MSVU or the Mount, because to say Mount St. Vincent University repetitively gets a lot. So I have the pleasure of being MSVU's International Student Recruitment Officer. So I travel all through the Americas, Latin America, throughout the Caribbean, Bermuda, the continent of Africa, and Eastern Europe. So so I get to see a lot of students from around the world. I'm a teacher myself by a previous profession. So I'm very passionate about global education, the opportunities that Canada presents itself, and just the opportunity to really study anything that you wish you can study in Canada. And for those students that need the practice for English for academic purposes, we have fantastic partners like SSLC that, students can get that groundwork first and then come to us. And so, it's my pleasure to talk today about Mount St. Vincent University.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And how long have you been with the university?
So I've been with the Mount for only a short 3 years.
Okay.
Previous to that, I was at another institution for a little over 7 years. So I have
Wow.
about a decade of international recruitment under the belt. And then I was a teacher for about 2 years. And so I was a classroom teacher here in Canada and as well in Shanghai, China. So so try to bring a little bit of experience from understanding the student's perspective. And we know that that can be, a big transition into a
Exactly.
learner. Even if you have a previous degree of that transition of coming into Canada and starting a new program, new career. So I try to relay, some messages to my staff in terms of, trying to put themselves in their position as well, that it's not as cut and dry and easy when you're a second language learner.
Great. And we are also trying hard to, bring all our partners and their experienced representatives to these webinars. And, we talk about education in Canada, and we talk about those specific institutions like yours, MSVU, and hopefully, we are trying to give them most up-to-date information to our current students, prospective students out there, and to our partners all around the world. So again, thanks for being here today with us. What time is it in Halifax right now? We have, I believe,
Yeah.
4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours. So
4
it's
hours,
only
right?
7:05. So still a bright sunny day here in Halifax. The weather has been spectacular lately. On the weekend, it was, even with humidity pressing about 39 to 40 degrees Celsius. So summer is here, and hopefully summer is here for, a little bit into the fall, even September. That would be nice. But yeah, we're blessed here in Halifax that we get those 4 seasons. So right now, summertime, the sun won't set for another close to 3 hours or so. So we get a nice long summer day.
I actually had the chance to visit Halifax. I believe it was about 10 years ago or so. I was there
Nice.
for a conference. Yeah, I was there in the winter time, but it wasn't that cold. I
Okay.
didn't see any snow. It was
Yeah.
like in January, and it was only raining, I believe.
Yep. Very common.
Um,
Very common. Yeah.
yeah, and I just fell in love with that city. It was very beautiful, and I had the chance to see a few sites over there. So
Great.
it's Halifax is a very good destination to study, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. And certainly, I'm very passionate about my institution, Mount St. Vincent, but in Nova Scotia, we do have a nice kind of collaborative sort of approach to post-secondary education. And I think that goes for a lot of my colleagues across the country that, work with post-secondary education, that we really firmly believe it's all about the best fit. We don't get a commission. It's all about, how you feel at your institution, and whether it's the program, it's the environment. If you have a family, you're going to have to think about relocating with your family and how are they going to settle, and the job opportunities and the environment and the landscape. There's a lot of things to consider. So in Nova Scotia, we have, I think, 13 different post-secondary options for you. So there's a lot of options in a small province. So literally anything, you could study, you can study in Nova Scotia. And, I think Halifax is a super cool city. A lot of similarities between Halifax and Vancouver, I think, being that port city right on the water. We don't have the mountains like you guys do, but we have that beautiful
ocean.
Coastline. Yes, exactly.
All right. Why don't we get started here? Maybe we can start with MSVU's video first.
Sounds great.
Just to introduce MSVU quickly. And then we can go ahead with your presentation. I believe we're going to show 2 videos here, one for MSVU and one for Halifax or Nova Scotia. So let's go ahead with the videos, and then we'll start with your presentation.
That's great.
Here comes the second video, or not yet?
No, it's coming. Just
okay, perfect.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow sky, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true.
All right, that was Nova Scotia in a nutshell, I believe. And
Yes.
now we can go ahead with your presentation. If questions arise, I may interrupt you from time to time. And if you guys have any questions, you can simply type your question on the chat box on the right-hand side of your screens, or you can click on the Ask a Question tab to ask your questions. We can even have you live with us if you want to ask your questions, so don't be shy. But if we get questions from Facebook and other platforms, Jem will just type the question and I'll read out to you, okay?
Sounds great.
All right.
And thank you for sharing the Tourism Nova Scotia video. It's one of our latest videos that we've, the province has created due to COVID. So it's really trying to encourage people and the Atlantic province, because we now have the Atlantic bubble. So Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland can travel freely throughout the Atlantic provinces. So it's nice to showcase the beauty of Nova Scotia, and you can truly do all those things in that video. So whale watching, vineyards, and sailing down the Halifax Bedford Basin.
Great.
So I will get our presentation here going here.
Okay.
Just have to give me 1 second. I think it's just registering that I've got my application window. Hopefully. Here we go.
Okay.
Great. So we can see successfully, yes?
Yeah.
Great, perfect. So yes, it's my pleasure here for my evening, your afternoon, to spend some time with you to talk about Mount St. Vincent University, MSVU, and all the opportunities that the university has. So if you're not familiar where Nova Scotia is, it's just a short plane ride right across the other side of our beautiful country of Canada. So we are on the East Coast. For anybody who's checking in internationally, we are right on the Atlantic Ocean. So essentially, we are less than a 2-hour flight from Toronto, about an hour and a bit flight from Boston, and about a 2-hour flight north from New York City. So essentially, when you're traveling anywhere internationally and arriving in Canada, usually Toronto is that destination for you if you're not coming from China and stopping in Vancouver. But once you're already on the plane, you can easily go another 2 hours, but one movie, and then you'd be in Halifax.
Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong. Halifax is also the place where Titanic sank, right?
Just it's very, very close. Very close.
Right?
Yes. So that would be in Newfoundland. So it's a little bit north. But we do have wonderful maritime museums that still have relics and information about historic shipwrecks in the Atlantic Ocean. So it's a really historic place to be.
There was an exhibition when I was there 10 years ago about Titanic. So that's why I wondered if
so we share that that maritime Atlantic kind of camaraderie and So like certainly
Nice.
where it's a big piece of our history, we do still want to share it being on that coastal landscape. So, but Halifax, we are the capital city of Nova Scotia. We are the largest capital in Atlantic Canada. So we have the big shopping malls, once things, go back to our normal, all the big music concerts and sports and everything is in Halifax first. So, it's very common for people to drive from, Fredericton, New Brunswick to Halifax for certain things because Halifax is the destination. We are a population of about 430,000 in the Halifax regional municipality. We call it the HRM, so it's kind of our central hub. We are growing, and so we are growing at an unprecedented rate. It's really interesting, Ilias, that if you came back to Halifax today, the city may be unrecognizable to you in certain areas.
Wow.
And because Halifax in the last 10 years has had such tremendous growth, new infrastructure, we still are that old city because we have very historic roots, dating back to the 1600s, but all that newness to a modern city. So it's really this great juxtaposition of new and old. We are known as the Smart Province. As I mentioned during the introduction, we have, well over 12 to 13 different options for you for your post-secondary. So we're known as being a very highly educated province. Our province only has less than 1 million people. So when you look at the population of Halifax, about half of the population lives in the city. It's very safe, very welcoming, very vibrant. It's very stereotypically Canadian. People are polite, they're engaging, they want to know more about our international students and where they come from and how they can support them. So just a little bit about Mount St. Vincent University. So we were established in 1873. So we are one of Canada's older historic universities. When we were first established, we were established as a university just for women. So we were women's only. And we were actually founded what we like to call our rebel nuns, because they actually asked the permission from the Pope to establish Mount St. Vincent University. And so with the permission of the Pope, we were able to have Mount St. Vincent. And then in the 1960s, we actually let the men come into our university as opposed to the other way around. So we are co-educational, both men and women on our campus. We are a small to medium-sized campus, and depending on how you would gauge your university size, but we're about 4,000 students. The majority are undergraduate students, but we have well over 1,000 graduate students studying on our campus from 80 different countries. 20% of our population are international students. So we are very proud of our diversity and our reach across the globe. Our average class size is 23. And so for many students that I visit at their high school, their senior high school class is actually larger than their first year class at university with us. So as you'll see on my PowerPoint slides, we call ourselves the small wonder. And so we think small is a beautiful thing. It's where you can have active discussion and debate and critical analysis and multiple perspectives and really have that core engaging discussion with peers and with faculty. So our largest class is actually only 65 students, and that is first year psychology. And, when you think of first year psychology, that's a class anybody takes. It doesn't matter years 1 to 4, doesn't matter what program, if you're, psychology, chemistry, or business, you usually take a first year psychology course in your undergrad, and that's actually only 65 students. And we've seen, first year psychology classes getting up to 600 to 800 to 1,000 students. So we want to keep ourselves small. We give cutting edge research opportunities in every single one of our programs, arts, sciences, or professional studies. Students will have the opportunity opportunity for research. We have cutting edge research right now in the fields of aging, of food and nutrition. So one of our professors, she's actually a 3M funded scholar and a Bill and Melinda Gates funded scholar. Looking at thiamine deficiency in rural Cambodia. Another one of our professors, Dr. Ian Potty, he is one of Canada's leading researchers in Alzheimer's. And so we have some really interesting things right now in terms of Alzheimer's research.
Mhm.
And so we're also very high in student satisfaction. And so over 90% of students of our graduates recommend MSVU, and 100% of them actually recommend our professors. So we have a very strong student satisfaction in the classroom.
Great.
So we are on a little bit of a hill, but with being on a little bit of a hill means we have a gorgeous view. So we are about 7 minutes away from downtown Halifax. So we are known as a more of a suburban campus, but you have that benefit of being on a smaller campus that it's a community. The people that are on MSVU's campus are MSVU staff, faculty, or students. So you've got this great connectivity piece to your campus, but only 7 minutes away from downtown that you can actually see downtown from our campus. We have over 40 acres of green space. So it's like a park-like setting in a way. And so we have our own nature and botanical gardens, and we also have some deer, as you'll see in the corner there, that actually come and they'll greet you. So they're very docile. We say a connected campus because that means that every single one of our buildings on campus is actually connected through a pedway, a tunnel, or some way to get from building to building without having to go outside. So very, very easy to get around in the winter in t-shirts and flip-flops if you want. We have over 100 societies, so you can really create your own culture within the university. And UPass is our transportation pass. And so as a full-time university student at Mount St. Vincent, you would actually receive compensated transportation throughout the entire city of Halifax that you could just take whenever you wish for classes, for your job, for shopping, for whatever you wish. So very easy to get around Halifax and get to know your new city. So just a little bit about our programs. We offer arts, sciences, professional studies, and a bachelor's of education. Our bachelor's of education is a postgraduate bachelor's. So that's very common in Canada that you would have to have a bachelor's degree first before you can go into the bachelor's of education. But the other bachelor's degrees that are listed are 4-year bachelor degrees. The ones with a star beside them means that the entire degree can be available online. For fall 2020 semester, Mount St. Vincent is doing virtual classes only. So every single program can start online, no problem. Mount St. Vincent's been a leader in virtual learning for over 40 years. So before the internet was even a thing, we actually had our own cable access TV channel that we were offering distance education to the local community.
Wow.
Yeah, so when COVID happened, in March, it really wasn't a large adjustment for our university. We already had the platforms built in. It wasn't Zoom University. We had, high-tech, high-engaging platforms just to kind of migrate all of our classes over to. So it was a seamless transition for us.
And are you going to continue offering your programs online in the fall term as well?
So fall is all online, yes.
Okay.
And then we'll make the decision likely, September time for any interested student. I do recommend just keeping engaged with us on social media.
Okay.
And then we have to make the decision about January. But right now, as it stands, we want to keep everyone safe. So we are going for virtual learning only. But, we may even open up in January. We'll have to wait to see how things look at that time. Sure. We are a liberal arts university, so students can mix and match and study 2 different things, 3 different things all at the same time. So they can do double majors, concentrations, minors. Our programs do kind of break down into more defined subjects. So for instance, in our Bachelor's of Science of Psychology, we do offer neuroscience. In our public policy studies, we would offer a Canadian stream or an international stream. We offer applied statistics within our mathematics. And so more information on our programs is certainly available on our website, msvu.ca, or at the end of the presentation, students will have my email that they can always contact me for more information.
And what is general studies? I saw general studies under Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science.
Yeah, so general studies is an option for students to take that if they don't want to declare a major. It's a 3-year bachelor's degree. So it would just, it's a very broad degree for students to take. I will be very honest that international students may have some difficulties within the study permit for the general studies. It just depends on their background and of course their study permit application. But we do recommend our international students to go into a defined program.
I see.
But you did actually remind me of a really good point that I wanted to make is that you'll see the color difference between like some courses are in white and some are in green. The green ones are the programs that we're very well known for. And you'll see that under the professional studies, it's entirely green. And that's really where Mount St. Vincent excels and is known for is that work study component. We were one of the first universities to adopt cooperative education. So co-op, that paid work experience in academics. We are Atlantic Canada's only child and youth study program. So for early childhood education, we're one of the only universities in Nova Scotia that offers nonprofit leadership within our business school. We are the only university in Canada with the accredited co-op within public relations. So it's like we've had this program for over 40 years. We are known around Canada and internationally for this program. We're one of 16 schools in Canada with the Applied Human Nutrition program for dietetics, and one of 2 schools in Nova Scotia with the Tourism and Hospitality Management program, and we are the only one in the city. And if students don't want to have a full bachelor's degree, we do offer certificates and diplomas in the fields of business and tourism. And they're either for a certificate 1 year and a diploma is 2 year.
And just one last question there. I see psychology under Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. How does that differ?
Yeah, so it really depends on that mixing and matching, as I mentioned earlier, for that double major or major minor. So we do offer the psychology within the arts for the more humanities aspect to it. So many students like to combine a Bachelor's of Arts Psychology with sociology, with anthropology, with women's studies, even communication for a more like science communication background. But then we also offer the Bachelor's of Science with psychology for neuroscience in that very raw scientific field of psychology and chemistry together. But students, if they start, let's say, in the Bachelor's of Science Psychology and they don't enjoy it and they want to switch to a Bachelor's of Arts, no problem. You just work with your academic advisor. All the courses for psychology are 100% identical. It's just what you're studying along with psychology that would make you the difference between a Bachelor's of Arts or a Bachelor's of Science.
I see. Thank you.
Great question. For our graduate studies, they are full master's degree programs. So they, applied human nutrition for dietetics. It's a highly competitive program, as not many institutions in Canada offer the Masters of Applied Human Nutrition. Child and youth study for the masters of this program, as we offer the undergraduate, and you'd have a master's within early childhood education, family studies, and gerontology. Gerontology is the study of aging, so understanding the science and the sociological aspects of aging. Public relations, again, we are, the public relations with us, you'd have fantastic job opportunities both in your program and after graduation. And women's and gender studies. And no surprise that we offer this at the bachelor's and graduates, it's like how we were created in search of, being a women's only university. Different areas of specialization within our Master of Education program. We offer some different versions of our master's degree programs. So we offer the master, which is a course-based only. We also offer the Masters of Science or Masters of Arts in Education, which is a thesis. So that's where students are going to be doing courses and a research project. Our course-based masters are typically 1 year in length, and then the research-based masters are usually 2 years in length.
Okay.
New to this year, we just announced them about a week or so ago, is that we now are offering graduate certificates and diplomas in very specific fields. But again, it would be like a 1 year to 2 year program it'd be like an 8-course program in teaching English to speakers of other languages, or TESOL program, or also health communication in aging. We do offer a PhD in educational studies. However, I don't recruit for that program, but if certainly if a student had any questions about this program, that they can reach out to me and I can send them along the way of the person who's in charge of that program.
Great.
So for students, of course, making that big trip from Vancouver to Halifax, if they wish to live on campus, they absolutely may. We offer 3 different styles of residence. So a CC is, that very common high-rise building. There would be 13 rooms and 13 floors. The birches are the small townhouses that you see around our duck pond. There's about 20 rooms in that residence. And then Westwood is the larger building beside the duck pond as well. And that's our more mature condo apartment style. Residence is open this year for our students. However, we are doing it at a reduced capacity just due to COVID. So for the upcoming January semester, there will be more information about how our residences will look. But if students don't want to live on residence, that's no problem. Halifax has, anything like lots of places to live. So either you want to be walking distance from campus. There are lots of apartments and condos and houses to rent. There are also, of course, everything downtown. And then students receive that unlimited free transportation that they can use the buses to get back and forth. All major bus routes pick up and drop off on campus. So we are actually the most accessible campus of any other university in Halifax. So it's very easy to get around on campus and off campus. For our students who are living on campus, we do offer that all you care to eat meal plan. Even before COVID, there was no double rooms. So you have that single room, that space for yourself. But we also offer a lot of excursions and get-togethers to have that social experience to residents, because we really do want people to have the time of their life and meet their forever friends in residence. And of course, we take care of our international students. So once things get back to normal, of course, airport pickup, we offer a full week orientation. We have our own immigration consultant on campus, who is actually one of our vice presidents. The international student advisor is Rissia. So she is regulated to assist within the study permit and work permits. Career advice, personal and academic advising. We offer all kinds of workshops for volunteerism or for work, or just getting out into the local community, because we really want to make sure that our international students feel part of our MSVU community. So all of these things are free, and they're always available for our students. We offer 4 main intakes during the year. fall, winter, and then also 2 in the summer. So there's always going to be assistance rolling throughout our admissions processes.
Great. Just for that accommodation option,
Yeah, of course.
do you also provide any homestay services to students by any chance?
We don't, unfortunately. We can assist students within a certain spectrum of finding a place off campus and giving them some advice or places to look at, but we don't offer that sponsored homestay because we really do want students to kind of go and explore and get to know Halifax. And with that free U-Pass, they can really just come and go, and it's not a big scary city. You know, it's easy to get around.
Right. And I assume it must be very affordable to live outside of campus in Halifax.
Very affordable, yeah. So, I mean, when you're comparing cities, you know, Halifax is known, I believe it's the stat is, I think it's 24% lower cost of living comparative to Vancouver and 21% lower cost of living comparative to Toronto. So the dollars do stretch out in terms of accommodations, recreation, transportation, you know, food, beverage, everything. So, you know, there's of course the brand new condos and the, you know, the luxury apartments in Halifax. But there are lots of student accommodations that would meet a student's price point as well.
Great.
We have lots of varsity athletics for a school of our size. So men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, women's volleyball, and men's and women's cross country, which is the long distance running. We have the most national and regional championships out of any school in our league, but we also do have lots of intramural sports and sports to play just for fun. So if there are any future athletes that are listening and watching, you'll have my email at the end of the presentation that I can guide you in how to connect with a coach, as we do, of course, allow international students to play on our sports teams.
And do they get any scholarships with that?
Scholarships for Canada are a little bit, for athletics are a little bit different than, you know, how we're always so accustomed to the United States and their sports scholarships. There may be some additional funding available for our athletes. It's very common in Canada for packages to maybe for our top recruits for an athletic team for a accommodation, so a residence package to be built in within. So when you look at that itself, it's a pretty good you know, scholarship or bursary. Some schools may have opportunities for students to have sponsors through like their sports boosters or an alumni, but for us, you know, students would still have to have that academic scholarship requirement first, and then we can see if there's any opportunities to further assist too.
All right, and maybe we can talk about those academic scholarships.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So for our admissions requirements, you know, they really do depend on the program. They depend, of course, on the student's background, what they have for education. So there's more information on our website, as I've included here on the screen, msvu.ca/apply, or again, students can email me with their specific questions. But if a student's just coming from high school, they would need to have, of course, their completed high school certificate. They would need to have a 70% overall average with no mark below 60%. And some programs, you know, for instance, our business program would require English or their national language of their home country, mathematics, and 3 other courses. So we're always doing that average of 5 courses. If a student is a transfer student, so either they have a previous certificate, diploma, bachelor's degree, or they are in progress of a post-secondary, they would need to have a minimum GPA of 2.0 on a 4.3 scale. And so that kind of equates back to a 70% again. And then for our graduate programs, it really does depend on the program for their very specific bachelor's degree. Some may be very open and broad that they would just have to have a bachelor's degree. But for instance, an example of a specific, our bachelor or master's of education in school psychology requires a previous degree in psychology. So it really does depend on the program, but they would have to have a minimum GPA of 3.0 on a 4.3 scale in the last 2 years. And of course, more information on our website or through me that we can always talk about options.
Great.
And then, of course, for our language requirements, so MSVU is very proud that we have SSLC as one of our approved pathway partners. So students can meet our undergraduate admission requirements as long as they meet, of course, the program requirements, and they have successfully completed the EPE program with a final exit test score of 65% and around 80% in all of their coursework. So if students meet those requirements, they would have a full-time admission into our undergraduate program without having to write the IELTS or TOEFL, of course. We then, if a student's applying for our master's program, of course, they would have to meet the graduate program requirements, but they would have, upon completion of the EPE program, they would have admission first into our graduate preparatory program, which is for academic preparation for specifically graduate education programs. So we really do make that that transition from language, getting ready for academic language at a master's level, to then going into our master's level after completion of the GPP program. And GPP is required for all of our graduate applicants who are coming from one of our pathway partners, or of course who are studying with us first. They have to do their GPP. So it's an absolute requirement.
And how long is the GPP program?
GPP is 13 weeks, and it is running online right now until the end of 2020. And then, of course, we'll make the decision for what January intake will look like for our GPP program. But it is successfully operating online, as we've already are having our summer cohort through the GPP program currently.
So it's only one semester?
Yes, one semester, and they take an academic course as well. So.
Oh, really?
So it's both language preparation for master's level programs, and then one academic course that will count towards their program completion as well.
Okay. So, but most of your graduate programs, your master's programs, do they have 2 intakes per year, like September and January?
Some do and some don't. So that's another great question. So it really does depend on the program, and it really does depend on the applications. And so for program seats, it really depends as if we have space in the program in January. There are a list of our programs on our website in terms of which ones will operate both in a January or September and January intake, because we do absolutely offer that for some of our programs. But some of our programs, due to the accreditation of the program itself, can only offer a September intake. And so it really will depend on the program itself in terms of if it offers a September and a January or only a September intake.
Okay, so for undergraduate studies, our students, they come to SSLC, they study with us EPE, it's a 12-week program. And once they are accepted into our EPE program, then we are ready to apply to MSVU. So what do we need to submit, or how do we do that? Is it an online application? Is it a paper application? What do you need for that application to MSVU?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do they have to pay any application fees? And then once we submit everything, how long is the wait time? And do you provide a conditional letter of acceptance once we apply? Can you guide us through that application process a little bit?
Absolutely. So I just flipped ahead to help our viewers that yes, it's a fully online application that you would go to msvu.ca/apply. There would be, the application fee does depend on the program. So undergraduate applicants, there is a $40 application fee that's payable online, or a $50 for graduate. And these fees must be paid in order for your application to be assessed by an admissions officer. So it is a required document, if you want to call it that. We would then have to have the official transcripts. So the transcript from SSLC, so kind of, we can have an in progress transcript as well. That's great. So you don't have to wait until your program completion of the EPE. You can apply to our program as a current EPE student. We would just need to have the final transcript upon graduation, but you can apply as one that's in current process. We would also need to have the official transcripts from academics. So if you are a high school only student, we would only need to see your high school completion. If you have any, let's say, if you came from a country that has exit examinations, we would need to see the exit examinations as well. Due to COVID, right now we are accepting those digitally, so students can email those to us. But again, they would receive information about how to submit their documents after they submitted an application to us. If they have previous post-secondary, we would need to see those post-secondary transcripts. If they are not in English, we do need to see the official transcript that is in the national language, and then one that is a certified translated copy to English to accompany the transcript as well. And then for our master's or graduate applicants, excuse me, there are supplementary documents that they must submit as well, and that would be anything from a letter of intent, recommendation letters. Some programs may require a portfolio, and all of that information would be included in how to submit their documents. But for an undergraduate, it's just the online application, the fee, and then their transcripts. But then for the graduate program, it's the application fee, transcripts, and supplementary documents. We are able to give conditional letters of offer to our students who are in pathway programs. And then upon completion of their pathway program, we would then just provide them, if they've met the requirements, we would provide them with an updated letter that has those language conditions removed from their letter. So I really encourage our students who are currently in a pathway program to apply as a current student. So because it is a process, you know, so the more time that you give yourself, definitely the less stress. For our undergraduate students, the processing time is usually 5 to 10 business days once a student has completed all documents and all requirements. For our master's program, it really does depend if it's a course-based or a thesis-based program. Our graduate admissions officer can give out letters of admission for our course-based programs. That can take, you know, a month or so because there are a lot of moving pieces in graduate programs comparative to undergraduate programs. For those that have to go to the department, it can take a little bit longer just because the departments are very busy. They're teaching, they have to go to workshops and everything. So those things can take a little bit longer, but we do strive to give the offer of admission or the conditional offer of admission as soon as possible for our applicants. And if we're ever in a time crunch, you know, and students really need to hear back from us, they just, you know, connect with us, you know, just shoot me an email, and then we're able to work together collaboratively as a team on campus to really help the student out.
Great. And for your graduate programs, students don't need any GMAT or GRE scores, right?
No, another great question. No, we do not require the GRE or the GMAT.
Okay, and if, let's say, they have students, because we also offer, aside from our, of course, pathway program, we also train our students for IELTS test preparation. What's the IELTS requirement for your graduate programs?
Yeah, so for the graduate program, we need to see for full-time admission without the GPP, we would need to see a 7.0 with no score than 6.5.
Okay, if they provide this, they don't have to do GPP.
But likely not, but it is a case-by-case basis. And so, yeah, so it's definitely something that the admissions officer will review. And then our manager of our language program as well will review, and there will be a consultation with the student about their best options.
And I assume, okay, sorry.
No, I was just saying the GPP program, while it can seem like, okay, it's an extra 13 weeks, 90% of the students, again, in that program would recommend the GPP, and our professors really do encourage the master's students to successfully complete the GPP program, because it's not just going to be talking about academic English and preparations for the transition into a master's program, but it's also going to be talking about credible sources and looking in annotated bibliographies and, doing all those core research projects too, that's foundation to a master's program.
And I assume for undergrad programs, the IELTS requirement is 6.5?
That's correct. Yep. No score below 6.0.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, great. So
exciting part now, tuition and fees.
Yes, very exciting part. I'll start by saying first, we're very, very proud of the fact that we offer the lowest tuition in Nova Scotia, and one of the second lowest in Atlantic Canada. We really want to make tuition attainable, education attainable to peoples. So for our tuition, we just released our newest academic year tuition. It's $16,339 to $16,660. For our undergraduate. The variation is due to sciences. So the science students have labs, extra courses, so they'd be paying the higher of the two amounts. These are in Canadian dollars, and it's for the full academic year. So for 2 semesters, 10 courses a semester. Mount St. Vincent University does tuition a little differently than some other institutions, even in Nova Scotia, is that we do tuition at a pay per course tuition base. So for each course, at the undergraduate level is 1,633 Canadian dollars, or 1,666. So international students, to retain their study permit status would have to take a full course load, but that just means 3 or more courses a semester. So if a student decides to take, 6 courses a year, their tuition is going to be reflected upon the number of courses that they would take. So they would just do 6 times 1,633. Some other institutions, it's a flat rate tuition, that if you take less than the courses, well, you're still paying for the full tuition amount. So we don't see that as being very fair, either for students for, family needs, work needs, they need a little bit more extra preparation time, or they have an academic accommodation. If you need to take, 3 or 4 courses a semester, you would only be paying for those 3 or 4 courses a semester, as opposed to 5.
So if students were to take 3 courses each term, it would be around 4,800 per semester. And that's about, what, 9,600 per year for 2 semesters. And technically, they can take the summer term off and work full time.
Yeah.
Or they can just continue taking more courses if they want to.
Absolutely, because we offer those summer intakes, so the classes can continue all throughout the whole entire 12 months of Mount St. Vincent. The only caveat would be like you would still be paying for your living costs, like so
Right.
your program may be stretched out a little bit, but we would be able to offer those accommodations. And so I do always recommend for students if they're not going to take the 5 or 4 courses a semester to talk with their academic advisor before they start at Mount St. Vincent, and they would have that information before their classes would start, just to talk to them about their pathways and how long their duration of their studies would be.
Great. And I forgot to ask this question. Once they submit their application, do you require a deposit from the students, like tuition deposit payment?
We do, and it's just a modest 500 Canadian dollars. That's the only deposit that we would require. It would be held onto the student account, and then we can offer the letter of acceptance to the student upon that $500 deposit. So once a student applies, everything's going well, they receive an email from Mount St. Vincent's admissions office, and it would just say, congratulations, you've been accepted into such and such program. To confirm your admission, please place your $500 confirmation deposit. That confirmation deposit, as I mentioned, is held onto their student account, and then it is used towards their tuition once they arrive on campus.
I see. I see a sibling discount there and scholarships. Maybe you might consider to have discounts for SSLC students.
It's certainly something that we could always talk about. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yes, we are a very rare university that we offer a sibling discount. From my travels and my 10 years of experience in the field, I haven't heard of really any other university offering this sibling discount. So for a student who's studying at Mount St. Vincent, if their sibling comes and studies with them, it could be the same age, it could be a younger brother, sister. One sibling pays full price tuition, the other sibling receives 50, so half off tuition for the entire duration of their studies. So as long as 2 siblings are studying together, or half siblings, one would pay full price and then the other would pay half price until the older sibling graduates. If there were triplets, quadruplets, if your parents have to put 4 people through university, one would pay full price and the other 3 would get half price tuition.
But if there are 4 siblings, one would pay the full price and the 4th would be free.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like a BOGO, buy one, get one free. And the only thing is that it's for students who have not yet graduated a degree program. So they have to be in their first degree status. If they're transferring from another institution and they haven't yet completed their post-secondary degree, that's no problem. They're still eligible. And it's only for our undergraduate programs, so not for our master degree programs, but for bachelor's, absolutely. And students, of course, that fall in within that sibling discount, they can always email me for more information. And
so it's possible to transfer from another institution to MSVU to complete their degrees.
Absolutely.
Is it possible for to bring their credits from international university or a college?
Absolutely. Well? Yes, absolutely. So as long as their previous degree, and it can be a full complete degree for transfer opportunities or an in-progress degree, as long as their institution that they studied at is accredited by their Ministry of Education in their country, we can look to them for transfer credits. And so we would transfer a maximum of 50% of the requirements to complete their program. So for a bachelor's degree, maximum of 2 years of credits. It's really a case-by-case basis in these points of looking at their previous courses and how they would fit into their MSVU course selection. But we really do want to provide the maximum amount of transfer credits possible for our programs. It's really interesting that 30% of Mount St. Vincent students are either mature or transfer student coded. So we are known as, a institution for both 17, 18-year-olds, that are coming right from high school into their post-secondary, but also a large substantial portion of our population is a mature or transfer student. So we have those infrastructures on our campus for students of those natures. So whether it be, flexible classes, online classes, evening classes, on-site child daycare, a drop-off daycare if you have to run to your faculty office hours and you need someone to sit with your child for, an hour, we offer those things on campus.
And speaking of population, you've mentioned in the beginning that you have about 4,000 students. What's the percentage of international students?
About 20%. About 20%.
Okay.
Yes, and so we're growing. So over the last few years, we have seen substantial growth, both from our students coming from West Africa, from India, from Bangladesh, also students from Latin America as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're very, very proud of that.
Okay.
Yes, scholarships. I'll touch briefly about scholarships, but certainly on our website, as I've noted here, msvu.ca/scholarships, there would be a lot of information to go through. The majority of our scholarships are for undergraduate students who are coming directly from high school. So those entrance awards, that's very common at our Canadian universities, that the majority of scholarships are for high school graduated students. If a student is 1 year post-graduation of high school with no post-secondary, they are still treated as a high school applicant. So they would have opportunities to apply for entrance scholarships. We do have scholarships that go on through every single year of a student's academics. So students in their second, third, and fourth year at Mount St. Vincent can apply for in-course scholarships. And so that means we have scholarships just for chemistry students, just for biology students, business students, students who have strong volunteerism, students who have gotten actively involved on student council. So a lot of really specific scholarships for students' needs. We do offer some financial awards for our master's level students as well. They're very individual, so I do recommend students to go on the website to learn more. We do offer, of course, opportunities to work on campus. You can work on or off campus with your study permit at our university, but we do offer hundreds of on-campus job work placements. We have a very unique job placement called Student Works. And that's working within individual departments on our university. And you get higher than minimum wage for less working hours required because you're a student first. And so this gives you the opportunity to really engage in certain departments. We in the recruitment office always hire students to work to help us with campus tours and events and getting packages ready. So there's a lot of opportunities to kind of try to make a little bit money back to pay for your tuition.
Great.
Yeah, and then the last slide was one that we already went over. It's just how to apply. Very easy process there. But then if students need a little bit more guidance and support, they can email me at any time. I'm here in my virtual office, likely for some time now. Won't be getting on an airplane anytime soon, I don't imagine. So students can always email me. We can have, Skypes or Zooms if they need to have a little bit more assistance and they're curious about a specific program that Mount St. University offers.
All right. Thank you so much, Jessica. That was a great presentation. I've asked most of my questions during your presentation, but I just have maybe a couple more, and we can also accept questions from our audience as well if they have any questions. I was just going to ask about if you have any co-op placements or co-op education or any career services within the Mount?
We do, absolutely. So we have the majority of our co-ops are within our professional studies programs.
Okay.
So for instance, our business program, there is the co-op option that students can select. For our tourism and hospitality management students, co-op is actually mandatory for the completion of that program. So there's that built-in job placement that you would get different variations within the tourism field. Same thing for public relations, mandatory co-op. So you would have experience within different workplace settings, private, public, non-for-profits, government. Within our child and youth practicum, it's unpaid because by law it can't be a paid practicum. But there's those opportunities to get work in the surrounding community within that field too, to really boost up your experience. 100% of our programs offer some form of work-study placement. It just depends on the program if it's going to be paid or unpaid. But even in the arts and the sciences, we do offer paid internships. They're shorter duration than co-op, but they're easily done within your program fields. For our co-op, because we offer that cyclic kind of intake throughout our classes, students would do like study, co-op, study. So it goes along through the whole 12 months. And so really only, prolongs graduation by only a semester. So you don't have to have that full year break within your co-op and work. You'd only be graduating, you'd be graduating in the fall convocation as opposed to the spring.
I see. Great. I'm just checking if I had any other questions for today. And of course, if students want to study at MSVU, they can either study at our Toronto campus, which is about an hour and a half by plane, right?
About an hour and a half. Yeah, depends on the weather. Sometimes it can be a little over 2. But once you get wheels up, that's always the big stretch. But yes, you watch one movie, you land in Halifax.
Exactly. Or of course, in our Vancouver campus or in our Victoria campus, so you can go from all the way from west to east.
Yes.
I've had friends who studied in Halifax. They moved to Victoria, so it's possible,
Absolutely.
And I've had actually lots of friends who studied in Halifax, and then they either stayed or they moved to Toronto. So, and again, maybe we haven't mentioned this, but of course, MSVU is a public university, so MSVU graduates will be able to apply for a PGWP up to 3, like
Yes.
post-graduation work permit up to 3 years. I can say this because I'm an RCIC myself, so we are safe here. So don't worry about that. So that's another opportunity, and of course, tuition fees are very affordable, and it's very affordable to live in Halifax as well.
Yes.
It might get a bit harsh in the winter sometimes, but still.
Sometimes it's a little easier for any of our I love the prairies, but it is a lot warmer in the winter than compared to our prairie provinces like Manitoba, Saskatchewan. So because we're by the Atlantic Ocean, it actually creates a nice sea barrier that we're not going to get those harsh wind chills that come down from the north of Canada, where we get most of our weather patterns from like Bermuda up kind of thing. So along that coastal seaboard. And another opportunity too within Halifax, as we are part of Atlantic Canada, the Atlantic Canada pilot project. So so students have another opportunity for work after graduation and possible opportunities for immigration too. So that's only specific for the Atlantic provinces. So
that's true, yeah.
we have room to grow. We really want and encourage students to find their place in Atlantic Canada, specifically, of course, Halifax, because it's the best city, I think, in Atlantic Canada. But certainly at MSVU, we offer as well those career services. We have a dedicated international career service advisor. We bring in the Nova Scotia Office of Immigration. We belong to a partnership known as EduNova, which is a partnership with all of our post-secondaries, language schools, private K-12s in our province to really give guidance and mentor opportunities for our international students. This has received awards from PI Education, so a worldwide education consortium, from our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has applauded the efforts of EduNova. So Nova Scotia really wants to make sure that students have the opportunity to succeed.
Great. I think there are a few questions here. And of course, yeah, as you mentioned, Halifax is growing and it's attracting a lot of international students and immigrants because of those immigration pathways and programs you mentioned as well, you know, along with other maritime cities and provinces. So I believe it's a great opportunity for international students to study in Halifax and Nova Scotia. So Sabina asked, can I do the EP online and go there? So obviously we've switched to online along with other schools as well in March. Although we reopened our campuses in Vancouver and Victoria, and we are waiting to hear from our Toronto campus. We don't know when we are going to be reopening there yet, but our pathway program is continuing online, virtually as well, and I assume MSVU is accepting that as well because nothing has changed. So the answer to that question would be yes. Right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. As long as they complete their EPE program at the necessary score, absolutely.
And I know we are almost in the fall intake, but do you still accept applications, like last-minute applications for the fall semester?
We do. Undergraduate applications are still open for all programs. Again, they're all completely online for the fall. There are certain graduate programs that are still open. However, there's a lot more documents to submit for the graduate, and you may feel a bit rushed for the graduate studies to start for September. But for our international students, absolutely, undergraduate applications are still open. The only, I guess, like food for thought that I would have to give to them is that their study permit may not be processed in time. And of course, you would be able to speak to that, of course, better than I could, Elias. But you know, we can provide the offer letter at 5 to 10 business days. We just can't guarantee that they would receive their study permit, and there's special, restrictions and opportunities for study permits, studying online for the postgraduate work permit credits.
Actually, I mean, if they're already in Canada with a study permit,
that's true. Yeah, of course. Yes, absolutely.
To apply, and all they have to do is extend their study permit, and once they apply for an extension, they can start studying at MSVU because they're under implied status, even if their study permits expire. So there are no problems there. But if they're overseas and they need to apply for obviously a study permit, student visa, actually, Canadian government made things easiher for.
Yes, I would agree.
So there are like a two-staged, approval process. Of course. Again, their approval is not guaranteed, but what they can do is they can, apply to MSVU, if they've already completed our EP program, or if they're going to start our EP, and then maybe they can apply for January intake. They can apply for their study permits, and as soon as they apply for their study permits, their time, eventually, if it's approved, their time will be counted towards their PGWT requirement. So, and up to 50% they can complete their studies online. So there are no problems there as well. So
no problems. Yeah, absolutely. So, and we just want to make sure the student feels comfortable. If September's not right, absolutely you can start in January. For our undergraduate letters of admission, they are valid for 1 calendar year. So if a student would apply for this September, and a multitude of different reasons they're not ready, just have to let us know. They can defer their undergraduate offer, and they could start at any one of our intakes up until like September 2021 would be kind of the cutoff for that application period for that offer. But we will work with students. So we certainly want to make sure when the time is right for them, we will make it happen for them.
Great. That was actually my next question, but you answered that already. Thank you so much.
I could read your mind.
There's a comment, I think it's coming from Facebook. Mateus is saying that Halifax is his next destination.
Oh, that's awesome.
So great. We already have prospective students for
That's
Halifax, so this is great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's been already an hour and 15 minutes. So I'd like to thank you once again for joining our webinar today. And I'd like to thank everyone out there watching us live. And of course, once we complete this webinar, it's recorded and people can replay it anytime they want, on Facebook, on Crowdcast, on our website. So it's a great opportunity for them to learn more about our pathway partners, as well as Canada. They learn a lot of things about Canada and different institutions and different cities. All right. Yes. And Jessica just shared her email on the chat box there. So it's jessica.brown7@msvu.ca. So if you have any questions, you can either contact her, or you can simply just contact myself or one of my colleagues at SSLC. We speak almost all the languages here at SSLC. We have student advisors and marketers that speak your languages. We have representatives even in your countries, in Latin America, in Brazil, in Colombia, in Mexico, in other parts of the world as well. And here you can see our website. Jem is just sharing that you can find PowerPoints regarding our pathway program, and I was explaining about studying in Canada. That was our first webinar for our pathway webinar series, and you can see our partners on our website. I believe now we have around 39 or 40 partners now.
Awesome.
Yes, so we have many partners all the way from East Coast to West Coast. So we have,
and everything in between.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with 3 campuses in Canada, and with almost 40 partners in Canada, we have many great options for our students out there. And you can see our upcoming webinars. So we hosted MSVU today, and we are hosting FDU, Fair Vacancy University in Vancouver, on Thursday. So I'll be live again this Thursday, and we have more webinars coming up next week and week after that. So please stay tuned and just click here to watch, and you can just go there and register. We also have webinars in your native languages as well. So we have webinars in Japanese, in Spanish, in Portuguese, and I'm planning to have one in Turkish as well in the upcoming weeks, as I'm originally from Turkey and speak the language as well. So, by the way, there's a really good Turkish restaurant in Halifax. I'm not sure if you've been to that restaurant in Halifax, but I'll have to.
Do you know the name?
It's called Turkish Delight.
Oh, Turkish Delight. Yes. One of my recent students last semester brought me some Turkish candies, and I was forever in his debt. Istanbul is one of my favorite places that I have visited, and I often have a long layover in Istanbul, so I always jump on the Istanbul tours that I can go on and see the bus trips, and just a beautiful, beautiful city.
Right, and I hope I'll see you perhaps, in the near future, maybe in one of our business trips, if you're ever there. I travel twice. I used to travel twice a year.
Okay.
And we'll see how things will go after COVID.
Yes. So Ilyas, whereabouts in Turkey are you from?
I'm from Istanbul.
From Istanbul. Okay, okay. I will have to say, not to get too many personal details, one of my best vacations I ever had, I did the hot air ballooning in Cappadocia. It was fantastic.
Great. I haven't been there yet, so
Okay.
I know that it's a shame on me, but
Yeah. We
it's on
don't
my
often
bucket list.
tour your own home country. You know, it's
Yeah,
something I think we
I've
always
been
take
to
for
many
granted.
places worldwide, but not just to Cappadocia. But
Okay,
yeah, it's in my bucket list. Maybe for my
absolutely.
honeymoon, who knows?
There you go.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I wish you a great afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are. And thank you, Jessica. And I'd like
Thank
to thank
you.
to your team there as well. Please also send our thanks to your team as
Will.
well there. And hopefully we'll meet sometime in the near future.
Yes, looking forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
The sun hits the planet on a different kind of angle down here. It's beautiful, it's lovely, and it's sophisticated. Canada offers stunning landscapes, beautiful natural wonders, and the Sprott Shore Language College. Our school was founded to amplify and expand the opportunities you have in life. At Sprott Shore Language College, we want to put you on the path to greatness. We take great pride in serving as your educator, mentor, and advisor. At our core, we are educators. Nothing makes us happier than to see our students progress and develop personally. As a country, Canada is home to a great mixture of diverse nationalities, cultures, and personalities. SSLC mirrors that spirit of multiculturalism on our campuses. Being surrounded by so many interesting people will inspire you to do great things. Vancouver is home to many attractions that bring people from all over the world. Join the incredible melting pot of ideas, philosophies, perspectives, and ideologies that we call British Columbia. Many people are attracted to the cosmopolitan lifestyle that Victoria City offers. If you love living in a highly diverse, multicultural modern city, living in Victoria will be perfect for you. As Canada's largest city, Toronto has unique opportunities you will not find anywhere else. Meeting interesting and influential people will increase your chances of finding learning opportunities and discovering your true life's passion. Join us at Sprott Shore Language College to enhance the quality and success of your life. Now is your time.